A happy Monday, everyone. It's time for your primetime preview. Last call here on WagerTalk. I'm Jo Madden. You can find me on all social media at Jo Madden Sports. We got a great show for you today. Lots of people jumping in here. Hopefully, Carmine Bianco coming in first. We might get a glimpse of the Prez today. And we've got all of your questions, all of your comments here to answer. So great to see some new members jumping in. Of course, we're talking Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, opening lines on this, you guys, was a 3.5 for Dallas. We're still seeing 3.5s across the boards. Opening total 51. We've seen that drop to 48.5. So that's basically across the board. We're going to be talking about sides, totals, and some props in this game. Drop your questions over there in the live chat on YouTube. If you're watching on any other platform, make sure you do come on over here to YouTube so we can interact. It's going to be a fun show. So much to go over in this Monday night game, and really hoping it's not a snooze fest. I don't know about you guys, but let me know what you thought of last night's game, the Detroit Lions versus the Eagles. I found it really boring, and I love defensive football, but that was a snooze fest. We've had some duds on a Thursday night, and I'm hoping for an exciting game here. Now we're going to see what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do with a couple new weapons, a couple guys healthier on the defensive side of things as well. If this secondary can be exposed by Geno Smith, who, let's be honest, up until coming into this game, he hasn't been really able to expose defenses. He's had those struggles out there moving the ball, and he's thrown those interceptions. So we're going to be asking a lot out of Geno Smith to keep this one tight. I do think, especially if Dak Prescott and company come out of that bye week and really do put up a strong performance offensively. We have seen some glimpses of struggles out of that offense, but it's really been the defense that's had the weaknesses. We know Dak at home, this was a team that until that last game, which they fell flat, were able to put up a ton of points at home. Now they're out there on the road in Las Vegas. So like I said, we got a lot to go over in this one, you guys. I see all of you jumping in. Big Sis Lisa, great to see you here as well. Playoff chances. Yeah, Cowboys are holding on to those playoff chances. They need a win. They can't afford another loss here, especially to the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that we're all kind of like not sold on now. I thought Pete Carroll would be able to get a lot more going with this team, but I really do think Pete Carroll's working towards the future of the Las Vegas Raiders. It's definitely not for this year, but J-Dog, Alex, great to see you guys here as well. J-Dog rolling in with the Cowboys, laying the 2.5 and the over 48.5. And Alex with the Cowboys early and often. And I don't blame you. The Dallas Cowboys should be the side here. So much to go over. Like I said, we got Carmine Bianco coming in. We're going to get to all of your comments, your questions. So drop them here live in the chat. I'm seeing Brock Bowers being thrown out for that anytime tutty. You know that is a great way to go with Brock Bowers. We saw him shut out of that last game versus Denver. He only had one catch in that, but the game prior, back from injury versus the Jags, he just dominated in that one. Over 100 receiving yards? It was a nuts day. Those tutties were coming in as well. So tons to go over with him. Let's bring in Carmine and see what he's liking tonight.
Hello, Joe.
Hey, how's it going, Carmine?
How are you doing? Good. I've been running around. I lost a little track of time. I might have been on somebody else's time. I thought it was like 6:04. I'm like, oh my God, it's 7:04. But I'm here. I am ready. And yeah, you mentioned the Brock Bowers one. It's interesting because he came out and absolutely had like a monster game after his injury. And then I think last week it was like one reception for 30 something yards. And it's like ebbs and flows sometimes with whether it's receivers, whether it's tight ends. One week they're the main target, the next week they aren't, and it's up for us to decipher where they're going to be this time around. But I think he's going to get plenty of targets tonight. His receptions are I think 6.5 I'm seeing right now. I don't mind that, the 6.5 reception ones for him. I know the anytime touchdowns like plus 105 at DK. That's a little lower than it likely should be, but I get it. He's the go-to guy the tough thing, I think, Joe, when you're looking at some of these props is if your narrative is it's going to be a lower scoring game than you expect, then you don't want to be taking like all overs in the prop bets. There's no way you can like an under and then like a whole bunch of overs. And it's not saying they can't get there,
Yeah.
but it just seems a little more unlikely. Teddy Covers used to say that all the time. He goes, you're like, it's a low total in this game, but you're liking overs. Why? Right. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't go across the board and try and build one of those 6 or 7 game same game parlays with a bunch of overs in this game, but we'll see. The two I circled were the Brock Bowers ones, the Brock Bauer one at over 6.5 receptions. I'm just having a quick look.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you have it there, Joe, but his receiving props as far as his yards.
Yeah, it's 74.5, Carmine.
74.5. Yeah, -1. It's a little shaded a touch to the under, but it's essentially a pick 'em at 74.5, -110 to the over, -114 to the under. So obviously, that's pretty much it with the 24-cent line. That's about as close as you can get to a pick 'em on that number. But I choose to go the way of receptions, because if he catches a lot of short ones over the middle, and it doesn't have a lot of the sort of the yak yards after the catch, then we stay under the number in that one, but still get the receptions. So he was targeted 13 times?
Oh, it was the Nets game. Yeah, versus the Jags. 13 times. He just went off. What do you think the defense is going to look like for the Cowboys? We added Williams and Wilson at the trade deadline. Do you think they're going to be instant improvements here? They got to be better, right? There's a couple players getting healthier as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things when I think when you take the approach, and I understand it completely, they've got to be better. Sometimes getting acclimated with your players and running different defensive schemes may take a couple of games, may take 2-3 games to get going. Obviously, this hasn't been a very good version of the Dallas Cowboys. They're like 3-5-1 this season. Obviously, they're trending to not making the playoffs. I just don't see how that's going to happen in the NFC, where there's a lot of very good teams. This is just one of those games where do they get the win? And judging by the line hasn't moved at all in this game. I think it opened at 3.5 and it's stayed at 3.5. And that's one of those ones where when I see a line like that, Joe, I almost want to take the home dog, because there has been no money coming in, and whether there's a sharp to public square kind of movement, the public will never really move a line. The sharps will move a line. Books will move based on the sort of their bigger accounts coming in and betting on one side. It's what made me feel good about yesterday's game. I had Denver as a 5% play as a dog yesterday. And I thought they would win outright, and that line never really moved. It was like 4 to 3.5, and still at 4 at some places at game time, and never really moved. And I couldn't understand for the life of me why Kansas City was favored in that game yesterday. Not to talk about yesterday's plays, but it just made no sense to me. I think everyone's narrative was, well, KC lost to Buffalo. They went into a bye week. Andy Reid's great after a bye week. So is KC. Those are all the things public wants to hear. The sharps don't care about it, and they kept that line where it was, and the Broncos ended up winning. So I was perfectly happy with the way that one turned out. Would it surprise me if Geno Smith and the Raiders win tonight? Absolutely not.
Plus 170, worth a sprinkle. Yeah. Okay, you're talking me into the sprinkle. I grabbed them plus the 3.5, but maybe, just maybe.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think we're, the whole Pete Carroll thing. Like, I'm just wondering. I don't know what the mentality is in management with the Las Vegas Raiders, but I have to think that sort of the experiment with Geno Smith, who hasn't been himself this season, the experiment with Pete Carroll, maybe they're not around next year. You know what I mean? For as much as you want to say about, Geno Smith had sort of a good season at Seattle, it was a different team there. Pete Carroll, obviously, we know, what he's done as a coach, and a very good one, but they're a 2-7 team. They're still a 2-7 team. I think they're 2-7, I believe. I don't think they've got a third win as of yet. No, 2-7 teams. Yeah. So it is. There's going to be some good coaches out there. There's going to be some quarterbacks out there. We talked about End Zone Live yesterday. If you guys don't watch it, it's a great kickback live show that airs every Sunday at 12:45 and goes through to the 1:00 games. Joe's on it. Rob Vino, the Prez, Marco, Teddy Covers, a lot of guys on there that come in, and we share our thoughts while the games are going on, some live wagers as well too. I think Teddy said, I asked Teddy the question, Marcus Mariota, where could he start right now? He's not, he's serviceable, and I know he was in Vegas before, but he could be a Vegas quarterback. Why not? You would just want someone who can run the ball. He can run the ball. Sometimes when he's running with that ball out of the pocket, he looks like, and I don't want to compare the two, but he looks like Josh Allen running down the field, that he's like, if you hit me, you hit me, but I am going to get 10 or 15 yards to get this first down. And that's what you want from quarterbacks. You want guys who compete and aren't afraid to get hit. So, who knows? We'll see where the Raiders end up at the end of the day, because at 2-7, they've got a good shot at that number 1 pick in the draft, but then you still have to nurture a guy through it. But I would take the points. As much as I have a lot of friends who are Cowboy fans, and they probably hate me for saying this, I think the Raiders could very well beat the Dallas Cowboys tonight. The Cowboys haven't really shown me anything that says to me that they're world beaters.
No, they really haven't. You look at this team, they're sitting 3-5 on the season, Carm. This isn't a team that, has been able to get much done on the road, either 1-5 or 1-4 away from home. Right? So laying 3.5 with them in a primetime game here when Dak and that offense wasn't clicking before their bye. Hopefully they come out a bit stronger, but it's hard to trust them here. And this Las Vegas Raiders team definitely has something to prove. What are your thoughts on Ashton Genty? Because I did play Ashton Genty's receptions and receiving yards. So I can't remember what his reception number was. His receiving yards was 16.5. I hammered that because I expect some short dump offs from Geno when maybe he's looking down the field for Tucker and he's just not there.
Yeah, as far as his receptions, actual reception catches, he's at 3.5 plus money. He averages about 2.6. As far as reception yards, he's at 20.5. He averages about 15.1, and you're absolutely right. Sometimes it's that short passing game, and that's one of the reasons why. And again, these things can always blow up in your face if you have a game that's filled with turnovers, and there's a lot of points off of turnovers. But the Raiders, I think maybe the Raiders' recipe to winning this game is sustain some drives, keep Dak off the field as well to pick up 5, 10, 15 yards, move that ball down the field, 5 or 6 minute drives. And in order to get those 5 or 6 minute drives, it's exactly what you said, Joe. You need those dump offs to Ashton Genty. You need some dump offs to Brock Bowers, sort of across the middle, especially, once we see what that Dallas coverage is like tonight. But I'm not sure if the new additions are going to help the Cowboys at this point. I think it's just something that Jerry Jones had to do, and he spent some money. He's on the hot seat. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
The Dallas Cowboys are worth billions. I think they're I think in the NFL, I think they're the highest valued franchise there is. They're no longer America's team, but to a lot of people they are. But Vegas can beat them. Vegas can beat them tonight, 3.5. I tend to lean, like I said, to the under, because all you need is a couple of those failed drives. And I have to say, with Geno Smith and Dak Prescott, there's nothing worse if you're on the over than a drive of 50 or 60 yards that ends up in a turnover close to the red zone. where the
Ugh.
recovering team now has 70 yards going the other way, or long drives that end in 3 points and field goal attempts. As sports bettors, those are the most frustrating things you can come across. And this line, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to have a quick look at the WagerTalk Live lines. This line opened at 51, shaded a little bit to the under, and now sits at 48.5. 48 at some points, like some places like Superbook, South Point, and Circa. So the Las Vegas books are taking action. At least those 3 books are taking action on the under.
Yeah. Carmine, there's 18 interceptions between the 2 of them this season. We've seen Geno Smith throw 12, 11 touchdowns. So he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. And then we've seen Dak Prescott throw 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So it hasn't been pretty out there for any of them. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, though, how do you think they're going to move the ball? Like, do you think they're going to come with a solid run game? Williams there on the ground? Or do you think this is one where Dak is just airing it out against the Raiders defense?
I'm not sure if Dak's going to air it out. It's just we've seen so many quarterbacks on Sunday that did not have stellar games. It is it was a
Look at Justin
frustrating,
Herbert. Carmine, what happened to Justin Herbert yesterday? That was terrible.
Justin Herbert, you look at, and I get it, the windy conditions at Lincoln Field weren't the best for as far as Jared Goff goes. That game really, I think Philly was the better team. Their defense were just stone cold nuts good in that game. But the wind has a lot to do with it. When it is a windy day and Jared Goff is not going to be able to beat you downfield and get balls to Amon St. Brown, it makes it that much easier for the defense to key on some guys. And it was a bad one as far as days for Jared Goff. He was overthrowing guys. Josh Allen was the same, I think, early on as well too, overthrowing some players. You look at the KC and with Mahomes and Bo Nix, that game was similar as well too, with not the best performances from those guys. Putting up a ton of yards does not equate to a good performance. I'll always say you can put up a ton of garbage yards and they don't end up as scores. So that's something to look at. But when you talk about, like, for Dallas, Javonte Williams, you look at him, I'm just looking at some of his last few games as far as receiving goes. He's had like 3 of his 9 games where he's had 3 receptions or more. So that's a tough one as far as the receptions go. As far as the yards go, if he's picking them up out of the backfield, it's a different story. His rushing yards will be there. I think the one that I like as far as Javonte Williams goes is the anytime touchdown for him. He is priced at, let's have a quick look at the anytime TD. I'm not sure if you have that up on your screen, Joe.
I do. He's minus 150 for the anytime touchdown.
Okay.
What are they doing to his Carmine?
That's not good. And I can't even take the 2 TDs because it's tough to take two TDs when you think it's going to be a game in which goes under. I can't even take the first TD. It's priced so low, plus 450. I'm one of those guys. If I'm going to play a first TD score, I want something that's 10-1, a risk reward one, a guy that is likely not going to get there, but very well could. Maybe like a guy like Trey Tucker, 15-1, first
that's
TD
a nice
score.
Price. I like Trey Tucker. I think they might come out with a game plan where they try to shock people, right? Geno, a huge play to Tucker. They get in the end zone like no one's expecting it, right? So I don't know. I like that. What are your thoughts on the Eagles on deck for the Cowboys? Does that weigh into anything here on Monday Night Football for you? Because that's a huge game next Sunday. It's not a primetime game though.
Yeah, it could. There's always the thoughts of like the look ahead game and how does the team perform before the look ahead game. The Bills came out of the bye week with and playing Carolina with KC on deck. but scored like 40 points and beat Carolina 40-9. They took care of business. But then you look at a game like the Denver Broncos before playing the KC Chiefs, and they win that game. I think it was 10-7. They win the game. So it's a game in which you could chalk it up to a lot of people think the Broncos aren't as good as they are, but their defense, I think, is very good. And I think they sort of reined in Bo Nix in the sense of let's not have him make mistakes with this defense. So with that said, the look aheads do exist. Marco loves those sandwich games, and this could be a sandwich game for the Dallas Cowboys, because they could lose this game. They know they're not going to make the playoffs unless they go on some insane run where they win every single game to end the season. But they could lose this one, beat Philadelphia, and it's like the Miami Dolphins beating the Buffalo Bills. It's their Super Bowl. We beat our division rivals. It's their Super Bowl, and their Super Bowl is next week.
Yeah,
it is not today in Vegas. It is next week against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's their Super Bowl.
Okay, so I'm loving the Raiders even more now with that sprinkle on the money line, Carm, like you threw out there. I think it's a great way to go. What are your thoughts on CeeDee Lamb, though, in this game? Because CeeDee Lamb has been really strong coming out of a bye. Normally, he's able to go off. If the Raiders don't have much of a defense, you got Max Crosby, and then you've got Max Crosby, right? Like you look at this defense, he's the only big name.
Yeah, that's it. I would love, if the cap didn't exist, you know what I mean, and we could just spend money on players, you know what I mean. As a Bills Mafia fan, I would have spent whatever money it took to get Crosby to in that Bills defense,
That'd be
and
cool.
CeeDee Lamb as a wide receiver for Josh Allen. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb's going to eat tonight. You know what I mean? He's going to get his throws. I get it. The Raiders know he's going to get the ball. It's going to be either him or obviously Pickens, but CeeDee Lamb's going to get his stuff. And you know what I mean? Like even for like an anytime touchdown plus 110, I would take it. Like CeeDee Lamb's a guy that even when he's not playing, when he was injured, you see him on the sidelines, and he is so pumped and into the game. There are so many people who disconnect when they're not playing a game or on the sidelines, and you're like, why are they even there? CeeDee Lamb wants to be there. He is such a valuable asset to that Dallas Cowboys team, but I would love to see him in the white and blue of the Buffalo Bills. It'll never happen.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see CeeDee Lamb on their team. Same with Max Crosby, right? Like bring over Max, bring over CeeDee Lamb, and you've got like such great weapons out there. But yeah, so CeeDee Lamb coming in between that plus 110, plus 115 mark, you guys. As I said, Williams for the running back here for the Cowboys, the odds-on favorite for that touchdown at minus 150, followed by Ashton Genty, the running back there for the Las Vegas Raiders at minus 135. When you look at that, Carm, and they've got the running backs listed as the odds-on favorite, does that ever make you think more so to that under as well? Because if the running backs are getting in, they're running the ball, that's the game plan. They're odds-on favorite laying juice because everyone else is plus money.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think this is I would my narrative to this and like in the unders, I think you're going to see if both teams are able to run the ball and run the ball successfully, that we're going to see some longer drives. You know what I mean? All it takes is a couple 3 or 4 minute drives that only one of the two ends in points, and it is so hard to get to that over. You're essentially stuck in the fourth quarter, and every handicapper does this. You're doing math in your head. Okay, well, if this team gets 7 and they get the 2-point conversion, and then this team gets 3, we can get it to overtime and we can hit the over on this ticket. You don't want to be doing math in your head at any point of a game in order to see if you can win a bet. That you should be instead live betting to see if you can get out of a bet you feel completely uncomfortable about.
Or going into it. Right? Or going into the game with a live betting situation. So Carm, what would your live betting angle be going into this one? Like if you see the Cowboys go down right away, would you come back in on them plus money when you're looking now at, you're thinking the Raiders on the money line, but if you got the Cowboys plus 4.5, plus 5.5, like, would you jump as well to have that?
Um, I would look at sometimes the prop markets because the lines are so sharp by
Yeah.
books, even like the in-game bets. Sometimes you can find a prop bet, and Andy Lang is very good at this. When he sees a team get up by 2, maybe even 3 scores, if he can find a line before it moves on a running back for that team that is ahead, that they're just going to give him the rock and have him rush in the second half, the third and fourth quarters, and pick up those yards. You can get a good rushing prop. So with that said, if the Cowboys go down early, and I'm just saying if they go down a score, it would probably have to be like a couple scores. If they were down, I would probably look at the Dak Prescott yards receiving, and you take into account what he's at pregame, which right now is 259.5 minus 111 to the over. He averages 257.7 yards passing. If he doesn't have a lot of yards and they're down, they basically vacate the running game and they start to pass the ball. And those are the ones, the hookups with CeeDee Lamb, the hookups with Pickens that are picking you up 30 or 40 yards a chunk. And if you can get the possessions, enough possessions, you'll get those passing yards and hit. So that goes to say with like Geno Smith as well too. It goes to, with the running backs. Know what the number was pregame in order to make an assessment of what you're going to do in game. Because if you're taking an in-game price on a prop like passing yards or rushing yards, and you're not aware of what the number was pregame, if they hang up a 270 on Dak and his pregame number was 259.5, you're getting the worst of it. Absolutely. You're buying a line that is 11 points higher than it was pregame. So why do it? You just pass on it. Just because it's there does not mean you need to bet it, right, Joe?
No, you don't need to bet it, but I kind of feel like we should be looking at some Super Bowl odds. I just want to throw this out because we do have in the comments there Bills Rams to take the Super Bowl. Now with KC's loss yesterday, they dropped from being the odds-on favorite, Carm, to get to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl. I still couldn't believe they were hanging right up there. It's now the Eagles followed by the Rams and then your Buffalo Bills. What do you think your Buffalo Bills chances are now? I know the Colts are still in the AFC, but I don't see KC getting there this year. So can the Bills take it, Carm? It's plus 380. Where's your faith?
Yeah, no, it's tough because one of the things with I think one of the advantages as far as Buffalo goes, here's one of the advantages I think of taking a number where they're not favored is in all likelihood the way it sets up right now, the New England Patriots are going to win the division. Mm-hmm. So that the Bills not winning the division is probably a good thing. And I'll explain why it's a good thing is because they're not going to meet a first round opponent like the Baltimore Ravens. They're not going to play a team like that. Yeah. When you're a division winner, you could end up actually meeting a team like the Ravens. You could end up, and I know a lot of people are high on the Ravens winning that division still because they're worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now that Aaron Rodgers has what they call a slight broken hand. I'm not really sure what a slight broken hand is. I've never heard of that term. But the Bills are going to have to learn to win games on the road until the point in which they could very well garner themselves a home game. They've already gone the route of winning the division and playing games at home, and it hasn't gotten them to the Super Bowl. So as far as that goes, the teams, you look at KC, I don't think KC is making the playoffs. They play the Colts this weekend, and I think they're a slight favorite over the Colts in that one. But the Colts seem to be,
right? They're still 3.5 points. It's crazy.
I think it's the last nail in the coffin. If the Colts beat them this week at 5-6, they are not making the playoffs. Even at 6-5, they have. Even at 6-5, they have.
Come on, how many people are celebrating though? right? Everyone's going to be celebrating. It's not just going to be the same Super Bowl with KC,
Yeah.
right? No one wants to see it again. Do you, Carm? You don't want to. You're a Bill.
No, I don't even want to see the Eagles there.
Yeah.
And hopefully Dan Alexander is not watching this show, because if he was, he'd be in the live chat, just giving me an absolutely
Yeah.
hard time about it. But there's some really good teams, so that's why it's hard at this point, unless you're getting an absolutely phenomenal price. It's just so hard, because the Detroit Lions, in spite of Dan Campbell, have a very good team. Okay.
Well,
I'm not happy about Dan Campbell yesterday, nor that phantom pass interference call at the end of the game.
that was
But
BS.
yeah,
That was total BS. What was that, Carm?
yeah, I know. So there's that. You got the Philadelphia Eagles that are very good. They're the only team in that division that is good. You have a team like the LA Rams playing extremely good football right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as they get healthy, the San Francisco 49ers, because they have an easy schedule, they had, coming into the season, one of the easiest schedules during the season. I think right now the narrative has been that the New England Patriots have had the easiest schedule, because they've only played two teams with a record of 500 or better. But you can only beat the teams they put in front of you. So, with that said, they've done a great job. I knew they were going to be a better team. It was one of my only prop plays for clients at the beginning of the season, was their win total over 8.5. I just
We've
thought,
already cashed 9-2
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Just
It's a
it was
good
one of
one.
the easy ones.
Yeah.
So
Did you have Denver too? Denver's 9-2 as well. Wasn't their win total 8.5 as well?
No, and you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people aren't sold on Denver as of yet. I think they don't believe that they're good enough. We'll see what the playoffs. The playoffs always bring. It's that the playoffs are a different beast. It is absolutely different. You look at Washington last year, and they went from making that phenomenal run with Jaden Daniels to this year they're like 3-7, and they're out of the playoffs. Daniels is gone for the season. Or he's going to be missing. You look at like even teams last year that had good seasons. We're sort of bouncing back and forth, but like the Atlanta Falcons, who kind of choked towards the end of the season and have choked all season long, and their season's done as far as I'm concerned. Atlanta, Penix is gone for the season. Drake London, at least 4 games he's going to miss. At this point, when you're 3-7, just rest them for the rest of the season. Don't bring them back to play 2 meaningless games at the end of the season, get the guy injured, start anew the next year. But when we go to one other one that I kind of like, and this kind of goes against, Joe, when you're talking about tonight's game, or we're talking about tonight's game, and we're talking about like running backs getting there, is the Dak Prescott passing TDs. The price is a little inflated right now, but man, I really want to take the over 1.5, because I could see him getting there with a couple TD passes. The game could still stay under with a couple TD passes, whereas running backs don't get anything, and he just pads his numbers. But the VIG is like 178. Who's laying $1.78 on a prop?
Yeah, it's gross. It really is. But you could definitely see it. I couldn't see 3 passing touchdowns. I don't think he has that big of a night, but he should get the over 1.5. Would you put like a dancing mate with it? Like, are you okay parlaying props at all? Like, if you could parlay that with something else?
Yeah, I would. I would likely take. I would likely take that one and add it with the Brock Bowers over 6.5 receptions, because that's probably the one prop. I haven't released any plays to clients. I just didn't think this game was strong enough, and I had a very good Sunday in the NFL. I had 3-4% plays and 1-5% play. I ended up going 3-1 overall and cashing the 5. So I hate to give back profits or give clients a losing play to end the week 11. So I'm just giving you guys my leans, stuff that I have played just to keep the game entertaining, but it's not strong enough to give out as a play for clients. And
Okay.
that's the under 48.5.
What do you think of this one? Just playing around with stuff. Then we'll get your recap. Okay. Dak over 1.5 passing touchdowns, because you lean towards that, with CeeDee Lamb for the touchdown. It's plus 156.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
Dak to
you think
CD. Spin those CDs. Oh God, I'm aging
yeah.
myself here. I'm getting out those 80s and 90s retro music CDs and listening to it
You
if this
didn't
one
say a
hits.
disc tape, so I think you're pretty good. As long as you're saying CD, it's not a disc
Yeah,
tape.
yeah.
Okay, let's hear everything you're liking, Carmen. Then we got to hear what you got for sale at Wager Talk. We kept you here forever tonight.
Yep, no, not a problem. So I'm going under. And again, these are not client plays, guys. These are just plays I put in for tonight. I'm adding the CD Lamb touchdown one to it, but I'm going to play it the way Joe suggested, CD Lamb TD. Because if I'm going to take that, obviously it's gonna be a Dak TD pass. I'll just need one more from Dak in order to cash that one. But I like the better price, the 158. I'm taking the under in this game, 48 and a half, because that's still available at some places. The Brock Bowers over 6.5 receptions for me, and Javonte Williams over 2.5 receptions for me in that one as well too. So I'll see if we can get there with that one. I'm not sure if that's at 2.5 or 3.5 now. I had it at 2.5, but it could have gone up to 3.5. At 3.5, I wouldn't play it. At 2.5, I would if you can still get the 2.5s. So just a little disclaimer there. At some point, there's a number that hits that you don't want to take it anymore. So I think it's important that you stick to sort of that mentality of not taking bad numbers just because someone says they like a play or they're going to take a play and you take the worst of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Big Sis talking about when the Raiders were the Oakland Raiders. Those were the days, Carm, right? I've got
Yeah,
a picture back there, the Oakland Raider days on my wall. It was a different time. They used to dominate Monday Night Football.
yeah,
So it's too bad.
and yeah.
Go
No,
ahead.
no. And I was going to say, and at least for the first couple of years, I've been in town when the Raiders are playing, and they come in from LA in full force, like from Oakland or whatever, and you still have the guys dressed in like almost like the Kiss things with the spikes and the Raider faces painted and stuff, and you love to see it. Yeah, you love to see it. They're passionate fans. You got to give it to them. Any fan base that has fans like that, you sort of always want to wish them well.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Unless you're playing against them, and then you don't wish them well, Carm. But
Yeah.
you absolutely crush it tonight. What have you got for sale up on wagertalk.com for us?
Yeah. So one the for tonight there was only one play in the NHL. It's already gone off. But there's a couple plays that will be live. They're loaded, but at 8 o'clock is when they go live for $5 Customer Appreciation Day, Tuesday. I have a best bet in the NHL for tomorrow night. You'll get that for only $5, and there's some great promos. And I have an NFL game already for Sunday up that I really like, and that's up for $5 as well too. Just know that while the Tuesday play will be good because it's a game for Tuesday night, the Sunday NFL play goes back to regular pricing at midnight on Tuesday night. So if you want to grab that, there's some great promos in there. And then I think the one that is one of the best promos is we have the $10. Pretty much it's $10 a day. It is $99. It's the 7-day all access package, but you're getting 10 days for it. So basically under $10 a day for the next 10 days. And with NHL hockey going on, with for me soccer as well too, and of course NFL and college, there's a ton of action that you'll get from me with that $99 package.
Yeah, it's a great package. So you guys head on over to wagertalk.com. Carm, absolutely crushed the books. Thanks for joining me here tonight for the primetime preview.
Great. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you. You guys, that was Carmine Bianco. Make sure you head on over to wagertalk.com to get the best of his plays. You don't want to miss out on everything that he's got going. Now, Bebo coming in with the chat on that defensive call on Max Crosby. If you guys didn't hear me talking about that earlier, I have Max Crosby for the anytime sack here on Dak Prescott. It's still sitting at that minus 110 mark, you guys. So go on over and shop those lines. But I do look at Mad Max Crosby. He's got 5 sacks on the season, and I think he's going to be a difference maker out here for the Las Vegas Raiders. He was one of the reasons that I was able to get to the window with the Raiders plus the 3.5. And I did go back and forth on this one on if I was going to trust the Dallas Cowboys. And I kind of came to like the realization in my head with Dallas, if I was going to lay the 3.5, I got to think they're going to win this one by 10 points. I got to think they got to come out and dominate, but I still think the issues with their secondary, I think Geno Smith has shown glimpses, and I think he's going to have some strong plays in this game. And I look at Dak and I look at those interceptions he's thrown. I look at how the offense went into the bye, and I just don't know if I can trust them with the Eagles on deck. So there was too many things going against the Dallas Cowboys for me to be able to back them on the road, especially when they're 1-4 on the road. And they should win, but they should have won before the bye. And it's just one of those games where I think the Raiders at home, I know they're 1-3. I know they're 2-7 on the season, but they need to come out big. And because of that, I'm looking at Max Crosby to come out, get that sack. I think he's a difference maker in this game. If you can get him for 2+ sacks on your book, I would definitely look there because I think there's so much value in looking at him. I also think Ashton Genty, the running back here for the Las Vegas Raiders, is going to have a strong day. I took him over the 16.5 receiving yards, not receptions. Don't take 16.5 receptions. He's not getting that many. His number's 3.5 for receptions, but over the 16.5 receiving yards. I expect those short passes off to him as Geno Smith is maybe looking for Brock Bowers, right? Or looking further down the field for Tucker and then not able to get it to them. And then we see Genty get the ball. So I do think 16.5 is a nice receiving number instead of looking at his rushing prop, because I looked at that number. It just looked a little high for me, even though I do think he's going to get better work. The offensive line needs to be able to open the lanes up for Ashton Genty, and that's where we've seen those struggles. He has been able to get in the end zone. Again, he's the odds-on favorite for the Raiders to get in the end zone at minus 135. It's too juicy for me. I can't take him for 2+ touchdowns. But when I look at Dallas, I do think it's CeeDee Lamb. It has to be CeeDee Lamb for me to get in the end zone. I'd look for CeeDee Lamb for his longest reception if you really want to bet CeeDee Lamb any other way. And that longest reception coming in, hang on, let me grab it. His receiving prop is 6.5. I do like that to over 6.5 receptions. His longest reception, though, the 26.5. I think he can get there, especially if Dak's forced into a situation in this game where he's being like pushed by Geno and they're staying competitive, which is something I'm looking for in this one. I just don't have the trust in the Dallas Cowboys. Remember what we saw out of them last year as well. So it's going to be an interesting one, you guys, but make sure you drop below this video what you like in tonight's game. It's going to be maybe some fireworks. I hope this one does stay under the total. I stayed off it. I know Carm's on the under, so hoping for him that it stays under. Let me know if anyone is sweating a survivor pick here for the Dallas Cowboys, and always shop those lines over on Odds Logic. But you guys, we are live for the primetime preview Monday and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a special Thanksgiving show, so make sure you're around to check that out. That will be at the 11 a.m. Eastern, so don't miss out on that Thanksgiving Day, going over all of the games ahead of us. And then Kelly and Ariel do take you on the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, for the college football last call, as well as the NFL last call on Sunday. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets tonight. Thanks for joining us here. Make sure you hit that like button and hit the notification button over here on YouTube so you do know when these shows go off. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, stay hot and let's make some freaking money. We'll see you next time.